Have you ever stopped to think about what makes a daily horoscope so, compelling? It's not just about the predictions themselves. There is almost always a very specific formula at work. So today, let's dive in and pull back the curtain on one of these popular daily guides. We're going to deconstruct it piece by piece to see exactly how it creates that powerful sense of certainty for its audience.
Right off the bat, this source kicks things off with this greeting. This isn't just a simple hello. It's immediately setting a very specific cultural and spiritual stage, right? It's blending Islamic and Hindu salutations to connect with a huge South Asian audience. You can tell right away this is more than just astrology. It's a personal message from a voice that feels familiar and trusted.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big picture, the cosmic forecast for the day. Then we'll see how that gets narrowed down for the 12 individual star signs. After that, we'll check out a single, really specific ritual. And finally, we'll put it all together and analyze the powerful formula that makes the whole thing tick. Okay, first up, setting that universal stage. Before the guide gets personal with anyone, it has to establish a general mood, a kind of energy that's supposedly affecting everybody. This creates a shared foundation for the entire day.
And what's really striking is how simple this is. The source points to a specific day, February 3rd, 2026, and just gives it one single, powerful theme: action-oriented. That's it. It's an immediate, easy-to-grasp anchor for everything that's about to follow.
So you might be asking, where does a theme like action-oriented even come from? Well, the guide grounds its claims in this concept of Gochar, which basically means planetary positions. For this particular day, the key event is the moon moving into the sign of Virgo. This astrological shift is presented as the engine that's driving the entire day's energy.
And here is where it gets more layered to really build that sense of authority. See, it's not just about the moon in Virgo. The source gets specific. It points out the lunar month, the phase of the moon, and even the specific lunar mansion, or nakshatra. All of this comes together to create a more nuanced forecast, suggesting that this action-oriented day is also detail-oriented, and especially good for things like technical work or land deals. All right, so now that the universal stage is set, let's see how the guide funnels that broad cosmic energy down into specific personal advice for each of the 12 zodiac signs. This is really where the general starts to feel personal and relatable.
And you can start to see a pattern emerging right away. For Aries, that action-oriented energy becomes a big responsibility at work. But for Taurus, it's about resolving a misunderstanding in their love life. For each sign, that one single cosmic theme gets applied to a totally different area of life, which makes the advice feel incredibly tailored.
And the structure just keeps rolling. Leo is told to watch out for a financial boost. Meanwhile, Virgo, which has the moon in its sign, is promised mental clarity and new ideas. That's a direct link back to the day's Gochar. Libra, on the other hand, gets a little warning about expenses. So the formula gives you this mix of both opportunities and things to watch out for.
And we round it out with the last 4 signs. Sagittarius has a shot at a career promotion, but Aquarius is told to be careful and avoid taking shortcuts. The key takeaway here is pretty clear, right? One single planetary event is spun in 12 completely distinct ways, covering all the big areas of life: career, money, relationships, you name it.
Now, after all of that personalized advice, the guide funnels down even further to its sharpest and most powerful point: a single, actionable ritual that is offered to absolutely everyone, no matter what their star sign is. This is the universal solution.
So think about it. If some signs are facing challenges and others have these great opportunities, how does the guide give people a tool to handle it all? How does it offer a real sense of control over what feels like the uncontrollable forces of fate?
Well, the answer it provides is something called a Wazifa. A Wazifa is basically a specific Islamic prayer that you recite for a particular reason. In this case, the goal is crystal clear: safety and protection from enemies or hardship. This is what transforms you from just a passive listener into an active participant.
And the ritual itself, it's laid out as a super simple, totally accessible 3-step process. The repetition, the structure, that's what's key. It doesn't ask you to have deep astrological knowledge or anything, just discipline. This is the ultimate call to action, offering a tangible practice for spiritual protection. Okay, so let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture, the whole communication structure we've just walked through. What's the secret sauce here? What is the underlying formula that makes this kind of daily guidance so effective and so resonant with people?
We can basically call it the funnel of certainty. It's a 3-step process. 1. You start broad, setting a universal cosmic stage that applies to everyone. 2. You zoom in,
personalizing those forecasts to make them feel relevant to 12 different groups. And 3, you give a single powerful call to action, a ritual that gives everyone a shared sense of control and protection.
This 3-part structure is just incredibly powerful. It takes the huge, abstract, and kind of scary uncertainty of the cosmos and methodically boils it down into a concrete, personal, and empowering daily practice. It's a journey from just getting information to actually taking action, and it's all designed to build trust and provide comfort.
And that really leaves us with a final question to think about. Beyond whether you believe in astrology or prayer, what does the timeless popularity of formulas like this one tell us about our deep, fundamental human need for structure, for meaning, and for just a little bit of control in our daily lives?